So there was quite a bit of discussion tonight about the social media policy that the HR department would like to implement for the city. Can you first kind of describe who the social media policy is for and what the changes would be with it if it had been approved this evening?
Well, it was something that had been done in conjunction with the HR department and our IT department for over a year now. A multitude of different references and ordinances to follow, and let's face it, social media is changing all the time. And really, it was just a policy kind of using some common sense, frankly, for our city employees. The original draft also had talked about possibly including council members or elected officials, and that's probably going to be separate now. Because elected officials are not considered city employees. Really, this is a policy that most every other city has. Technology is changing all the time. A lot of it, frankly, is just using common sense as far as things to say, not to say, be it your Facebook page, your text, your phone, or personal, whatever you use. You've got to use some common sense and respect, that type of thing, and to be careful, frankly, for lack of a better way of putting it. And we'll take a look at it, and it just needs to be a little more fine-tuned, if you will. It seemed like the majority of the council was in favor of it, but I want to make sure that everybody is on board with the same policy.
And then there was an amendment to it as well. Can you describe the amendment that Alderman Peckham proposed?
Basically, it was to eliminate, say for example, and because of so many changes in today's social media policy, let's face it, anybody can write whatever with the pseudonym catfishing, if you want to call it, as far as a fake profile. If something is deemed inappropriate or vulgar or offensive, that type of thing, they would have to remove that, and they would try in their best effort to get a hold of the person that sent that out, that message. We have removed this because we have deemed it inappropriate. But because, you've also got these individuals that, let's face it, create fake profiles to complain or whatever, to voice their opinion, as we put it, a good faith effort would be put forth to try to contact that person, explain the reason why. And if we can't get a hold of that person, a lot of people are legit, don't get me wrong, we would send something back that this is deemed inappropriate because of this reason. But again, if we couldn't find that individual that sent it, the good faith effort had been made, and that too is going to be notated in the new draft.
And then when will this be reworked on next?
I'm going to guess it's probably going to be ready here in the next month or two. Again, it's just something that should have been done a long time ago. Respectfully, technology changes weekly, or so it seems. But it's a policy just about every other city in Wisconsin, if not the country, has. It's another one of those things we brought forward. Okay, folks, like so many other things, let's catch up and get up with the times. And I can understand some of the concerns of one member. Okay, we want to try to address everybody's concerns so that everybody is on board.
And the council approved an ordinance amending the basis for charges for sewer service charges. How does that affect the houses living in Wausau with their water?
Basically, respectfully, your water rates are going to go up. This is the first rate that we've had in about 8 years. We need a new update, if you will, a water treatment plant, sewage treatment plants, if you will. A lot of rules put in for us now, magnesium, phosphorus levels, and everything like that through the state. And also in replacing those plants, a lot of these buildings are going back to the 1930s. The last major update was back in the 1980s. I think most people understand, nobody likes it. But it's just the cost of living in a decent civilized society for something that all of us use, and it has to be maintained. And when we've had to take on projects here before, as far as borrowing or whatever we had to do, because let's face it, we don't get the help from the state or the federal government. This is not something unique just to Wausau, it's everywhere. And I do believe that while people may not like it, they understand. In some ways we kind of got our backs up against the wall. I don't like it that we have to raise rates, but 8 years is a pretty good run. We've held it off as long as we could. And these facilities need to be updated. A lot of our infrastructure needs to be updated. The Band-Aid approach that's been done, it's not going to work anymore. Folks, it's time for this stuff to be paid for and to reckon with. And I think most residents understand that.
And do you know how much the rate will increase for residents?
If I'm correct, I'm thinking it's going to be about $8 to $10 per quarter.
Okay. And then when will that go into effect?
The first part of next year, probably, or excuse me, springtime of next year, if everything goes.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to talk about from the meeting this evening?
Just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.